Alright guys, I said I would make a quick video if I got a certain amount of follows on the vouch.run Twitter profile. So thanks for the people that did follow that account. What we're going to talk about today is issues that people have been having primarily with Staker, the Staker app account, and not being able to access their hex stakes or their funds that are caught in Staker app. So I'll just run through how I've managed to do that both on the Ethereum side and on the pulsechain side. And I'll show you, I'll actually explain some of the concepts behind it first of all so you understand what's going on, not in too much detail, just at a high level. And then hopefully, if you've got locked funds, you can unlock them. So give me 1 second, I'm going to bring up a slide sheet. All right, so let's have a quick look at how Staker app sort of works under the hood and why people are having some issues. Now, I'll keep this very high level. I don't want to go into too much detail. So let's have a look. So at the moment you have, when you first created your Staker wallet, so you've done it on the app on your phone, and what that actually done is you created a set of 12, I think it was 24 words on the Staker app, so that was like your backup of your Staker wallet, and those 24 words create a private key. And the actual Staker app, so the app that was running on your phone, held that private key, and that private key was used to control a safe wallet. So a safe wallet's just like a smart contract that that can do things on your behalf. And there was technical reasons why the Staker app went down this path, so there was no harm in doing that. It was quite innovative at the time what they done, but what it meant is this wallet itself, just with these keys, doesn't actually do much. It needs to interact with the safe wallet, the Gnosis Safe Wallet software. And behind the Gnosis Safe Wallet on Ethereum and on pulsechain, there's a whole raft of services that need to be running for that to work. So without these services, it just doesn't work. And that's important because of the fork that happened onto pulsechain. So let's fast forward a bit of time. The app has now been decommissioned. So how do we control this safe wallet? Well, at the moment, what you have to do is the app has been replaced by a website, and we'll look at that in a moment. But that website is just a website. It's not a wallet, so it doesn't hold these private keys. So what we need to do is we need to get our private keys and put them into a software wallet, something like Rabby or MetaMask. My preference is Rabby. So we import our seed words or our private key into the Rabby wallet software. We connect that to the new website, and then through the website we can control our vault or our wallet. So that's pretty much what in an ideal world, that's what you would log on to the Staker app website. You'd put in your credentials that you need to, because when you set up Staker, you gave it a username and an email and a password. So you still need that to get in there. But then we would use our new connection through Rabby to control this website and hence our safe. So we're going to do that in a moment, and if all things were going swimmingly, then that would be fine, and you'd be able to access everything on ETH side and everything on the pulsechain side. But there's been a few glitches. Now, I have been in contact with the Staker team, and they've sorted out one of the issues I had where I couldn't actually access anything on the Ethereum side. But wouldn't it be better if you weren't reliant upon Staker app at all, and you could just access everything you want? Because I know there's tokens on the pulsechain side that I can't see in Staker app that I need to be able to get access to, and that's something I'll work with the team with at the moment. I'll explain that. Okay, so what I'm going to show you as well is on the Ethereum side, and maybe in the future on the pulsechain side, how we can bypass Staker app. So what we can do is we're going to have to import our keys into Rabby wallet anyway. So we do that, but rather than use the Staker web app, we're going to fire up the official safe user interface that runs on Ethereum and a multitude of other networks. Unfortunately, not pulsechain because it doesn't have this infrastructure here sitting behind it on pulsechain to be able to run it. But what we can do on Ethereum is we can use our controlling wallet, our Rabby wallet, to interact with this website, which controls our wallet. And what that means is we're then no longer reliant upon StakerApp. That website could disappear. We don't care on the Ethereum side. Pulsechain's a little bit different. So briefly on the Pulsechain side, and look, maybe in the future we can get this working. There's a few technical issues that I've got to look at to see whether we can. On the Pulsechain side, like I said, this user interface and the official services that run on Ethereum and the other chains just don't exist on Pulsechain. Now there are a lot of teams that have fired up their own version of Safe. Vouch is one of those teams, and we run that privately. There's a few guys that have actually made that public. So the Liquid Loans team and the Power City team have made their user interfaces public. However, they don't speak to the particular versions of contracts that were used when all of these Safe wallets were deployed, and that's what's broken. So if we can get one of either the Vouch one or one of the other teams to support the version of contracts that were originally deployed with your StakerApp, then maybe we can get that to work on Pulsechain as well, and then we would no longer be reliant upon the StakerApp, and you could access any assets that are in your wallet. Cool. So I thought it was just important to have that little bit of background. Once we get this up and running, I'll show you that we can do some pretty cool things, and we can literally connect to any app that we need to be able to interact with. So let's change gears, and we'll go through the process of setting all this up, and I'll show you how it works. All right. Firstly, you're going to want to get Rabby or MetaMask. Like I said, my choice is Rabby, so I'm going to install this here, and then we'll add it to Brave. Yeah, we're going to add that. And there's a few details I don't want to share with you, so I'm going to pause at particular times. But when you install Rabby, for the first time, it's going to want you to create a password. Okay, I'm just going to pause the video while this is doing this, so you don't have to sit on it. We're gone through. Cool. All right, Rabby's installed. Now, we're going to say I already have an address, because we want to import either our seed words, or if you know your private key, but most of you guys are probably going to want to import seed words. So we'll go, I already have an address, and here we can choose what we want to import, either seed words or seed phrase, or a private key. Now, for my example, I'm going to use private key. That's just because that's what I've done in this circumstance. I've already done this previously, so I don't want to have to go and dig out a set of seed words. But for you guys, you're probably going to want to just select, I think it was 24 words that StakerApp used. So you just pop in all your words and go confirm. And once you do that, it's going to ask you to set a password on Rabby. So I would suggest you set a good password, because this is pretty much like driving without a seatbelt. You've imported your seed words into the wallet, and really the only thing protecting it when someone gets in front of your computer is that password. If you're using hardware wallets, it's a bit different with Rabby, but for this example, make sure you use a good password. It's not that important if you forget the password, because we can just restore a new version of Rabby using the seed words. So don't stress if you're about losing the password. Just make sure you set a good one for security reasons. So I'm just going to pause. I'm going to import my private key, and then we'll continue. Okay, so this is the password screen that I was talking about. So I've imported a private key. You guys might have used seed words. You've obviously got to agree to this little section here before we'll go through, but we're going to have to put in a password. And we'll get into there. And it's saying for me, private keys imported. Now what I do is I'd rename this, and we're just going to click on that pencil. I'm just going to block it off so you can't see what I'm doing. Actually, that's not too bad. I can keep showing you that. So we'll just put it here, staker keys, something like that. And we'll go get started. Cool, and it's telling us that Rabby wallet is ready to use. If you know Rabby wallet well, you'll know that it's a little extension that we access up here. So I just pin that up there so we can get to that very easily. And you can close that window and we'll keep moving along. Okay, now what we will do is I'll show you how to connect to the Staker app web interface using your Staker account. And then I'll show you how on Ethereum you can hook that into the Gnosis Safe side of things. Bear with me one moment. Let's go clean up a bit of this. Okay, so if you've imported your seed words into your Rabby wallet and you need to select that particular wallet in Rabby, so you may already be running Rabby and you may be importing additional keys, so you just need to make sure you've got the correct wallet selected up here, because that is the controlling wallet for your Gnosis Safe smart contract that's sitting behind Staker wallet. If we go to portfolio, and to access our portfolio we're going to have to put in our credentials. So you should know these, and this is the downside of interacting directly with Staker, is you need to know that information. Now if you do it through Gnosis Safe directly, you don't need to know that. Okay, so for this example I'll pause the video and I'll log in here so that I know that I can get into this particular account. So hopefully you've got your username and password that you used when you first created your Staker app. Most people will have used a sign-in like Google or Apple, usually. Right, I'm just going to log in and I'll come straight back. All right, so I've logged in with a username and password, and that's brought me to a particular account. And from here, you can see there's two things. We've got a pulsechain account and an ETH account. So obviously this Staker app was set up prior to the fork, therefore we've got two accounts. And the pulsechain site has been pretty reliable. I've had a few errors, which was what prompted all of this when I was trying to withdraw some assets. I've been able to end stakes and things like that. I just had some issues withdrawing assets, and I think that was more of a gas related issue. So I think that's been resolved, and for me I left it for a week. The transaction looked like they hadn't gone through. There was no transaction IDs or anything. So then I had to go back and try it again, and it worked. So it might have just been something weird going on at the time, but it seems to be okay. Now, the one thing we need to do is, so we can see these safe contracts. So that's that picture of the Gnosis Safe contract picture that I showed you that we're interacting with. So we've got one on ETH and one on pulsechain. But we need to connect the controlling wallets, those private keys that we just imported into Rabby. We can view all this now, but we can't actually process any transactions or sign any transactions unless we've got this connected wallet. So let's connect our wallet. In our case, we're using Rabby, but we'll select MetaMask here. It's synonymous with it. Oh, what happened there? Why did that do that for me? Let's try again. Okay, that's not recognizing that extension. Let me just refresh this. That's better. And we'll go Rabby, more and connect. Okay, so now we've got our controlling wallet connected to Staker app. So in an ideal world, that would allow us to do everything we need to and interact with this account. Now, I'm reluctant to go dig through all of this. It's just going to dox too much. As it is, I'm going to have to go back and edit and block out a lot of this information in this video. So I don't want to go exploring all of this too much. But what I would say is what I've noticed, and I'll do this once. So when you click on these accounts, it will go in and it'll put an address up here. So let's do it. Okay, so I'm going to have to go back and block all this out. So you go in and you put an address up here, and see, you know you're on the Pulse side because it says PLS. Now what I've found is when you sometimes flick between these accounts, this doesn't change to ETH when you go to the ETH one. So if you find that that happens, just come in and manually change that in the address bar up here for the chain that you're dealing with. Okay, now like I said, I don't want to dig around too much in here because I'm going to dox way too much. Probably already have, but that's how you essentially connect to StakeRap, the new web version, using a Rabby imported private key. Now on to something that's a little bit different, is let's show you how you can connect to the official safe front end and bypass using all of this. Just before we do, one thing you need to understand, this controlling wallet, you need to have some of the gas token in that controlling wallet if you're going to use the official front end. If you're using the staker front end, then they have a way where you can use the tokens that are within your account to pay the gas fees, which was a really handy, it was a cool feature. But just understand, if you're not using the StakeRap, you're not going to have that feature. You're going to need to have a little bit of gas token in your particular wallet. All right, let's jump over to Gnosis Safe. So this is all the back-end infrastructure that doesn't exist, which we were talking about before. We'll go to Safe Global, and we'll click on Launch Wallet, and this will take us to the official Gnosis Safe front end. Yeah, we'll do that. Okay, we've got to connect our wallet. So that is our controlling wallet. So we connect our Rabby wallet. Okay, it's recognized our safe. So this is on the ETH side. Now on the pulsechain side, this doesn't happen. That's the problem. We don't have that back-end infrastructure that's indexing all the vaults. So we can select our account, and once we're in our account, okay, so this is some of the issues we're having. Your safe account version is version 1 and is out of date. So that's the issue that I was saying before, is the versions of the contracts we need supported and the indexing services we need, they're just not on pulsechain. So we'll just bypass that. But when we go to assets, you'll see there's no assets in here. And the reason why there's no assets in here is I've moved them all out. But if you've got assets on the Ethereum side, they will all be here, and you'll be able to click on send and send them out and so forth. Now, it's a shame I don't have the account when it still had that in there to show you, but trust me, all your assets will appear here, and you can do a send. And when you do, if you've got assets here, you press send, it'll pop up a little Rabby dialog and ask you to approve the transaction. I wish I could show you all of that live, how to do all that now. I just don't have the tokens in here to be able to do that, but I think you'll be able to figure that out for yourself. Like, we've done the hard bit, is getting in here. Now, okay, what if you've got hex stakes? How can we interact with pretty much any application? So whether it's hex or hedron or anything that you've got on your existing Gnosis Safe on Ethereum side, how can we interact with it? Cool little feature in the Gnosis Safes that they've been adding is this little button up here, and if you're familiar with this, it's the Wallet Connect icon. So what we can do is go to something like app.cosa.pro, and we'll just close that for now, because what we want to do is, rather than connect our Rabby wallet, we want to connect our smart safe, our Gnosis Safe, to the Icosa or the Hedron DApp. And the way we do that is we click on Connect Wallet, we choose, wallet connect, and this is going to pop up. Now, we're not interested in the QR code. What we're interested in is this little copy button up here. So if we go copy, then we come across to here and click on this, we can paste that pairing code in and we'll approve it. And look, doesn't look like anything's happened here, but when we look up here, you'll see the Yokosa app icon is visible there, and we've got a connected wallet. And what you'll also find is our Gnosis Safe is connected to the actual application. So if we wanted to end a stake, we can come here and go mint hedron or end a stake, and I'll do a mint hedron. And so if I press that, what you'll notice happen, okay, we're going to go mint, and it looks like nothing's happened here, because what's actually happening in the background is it's all the actions happening back over in our safe, and it's preparing the transaction for us. Okay, so it prepares that transaction and says, okay, do you want to continue and mint that? And if we do, now you'll see what happens is it, is it going to, oh yeah, acknowledge. Okay, we go execute. And what's going to happen is we'll have to approve that transaction using our connected Rabby account, because it's got the private keys that controls the safe. So you can see it's popped up, it's prepared the transaction, and then when we sign that, that will actually execute that transaction. Now, I'm not going to go through with this transaction, but you've got the picture. Like, you can now actually interact with anything that's on your Gnosis Safe on the Ethereum side. So we'll can that for now. That's pretty much it, guys. That's all you need to know from connecting your old Staker wallet credentials to Gnosis Safe. And you noticed I didn't have to put in a username and a password to do that. So we've bypassed all the Staker infrastructure, and we're now relying simply on the safe smart contract infrastructure on Ethereum. So then where does that leave us? So like I said, we can deal with anything on the Ethereum side. That's a big tick. The pulsechain side's a little bit trickier, and I know people have got tokens locked up in Staker that they just can't see in the interface on one of them. So what I would like to do, and maybe in the future, maybe I need to spin up a version of the safe infrastructure. And trust me, it's not stuff that I really enjoy dealing with. It's difficult software to work with, and all the services and everything you need to run in the background, it's a pain, trust me. Any team that's deployed it knows how painful it is to run the safe infrastructure. It'd be great if we had the official support over on pulsechain. We don't. Maybe if there's enough support for me to fire up a full version so that we can access the Staker accounts without going through Staker app at all, or the Staker app website, then maybe I'll do that. But for now, you still need to come in and use this application. For me, I found there's a few quirks, but 90% of the stuff was working, and I've been able to get assets in and out. So that's not too diabolical, just not ideal that we're reliant upon this particular service. So if we can remove the need to be reliant upon it, that would be a big win. All right, don't want to make this too long. It's probably already gone on far too long. Hopefully that was really helpful. I'm going to have to spend a few hours now redacting all of my private information, but hey, I hope you guys appreciate that, and I hope you get a bit of value out of this. If you're really stuck and you can't see assets that you need to, and you think there's an overwhelming need for me to try and fire up some safe infrastructure, I'll take one for the team and have a go. But it's not something I want to. I've got many things I need to be working on. That's not really one of them. If there's a massive need for it, then yeah, maybe we have a look at doing that. All right, hope that was helpful, guys. Reach out and let me know if you think there's any value in running up the safe infrastructure. Bye for now.